sorry, not yet. You're good.
So we're at the podium.
Well, thank you for being outside on a beautiful day. We thought about this earlier in the week. We wanted to be all-encompassing with the House and Senate members who have worked so hard this session, as well as the leadership team. And we said, heck, let's do it outside. We have this beautiful building, and we're grateful that you would show up just to hear from our leaders just for a few minutes about kind of the first half of the session. I know the House is still in, so we're cognizant of their responsibilities to get back to the House. And we'll try to open it up for questions after a few folks speak. I wanted to start off by thanking both Senator Laughlin and Speaker Patterson and their leadership team, as well as their members. They listened to us of what we thought our priorities should be based on what Missourians said and voted for in the election. They've certainly taken action. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to have leaders that actually want to sit down and figure out how to solve problems versus just how to have meetings and keep trying to do things that never produce results. As I've said all along, I'm a small business guy and I want results produced. And the folks standing behind me, in my opinion, and I've been around this building several years now, have certainly produced incredible results. I think party unity early in the session has been a big piece of it. Both, no matter what part of the Republican Party you feel like you represent or what part of the state, I've seen men and women in this building decide that what's right for Missourians is what the most important thing is. Stopping the bad things that we see happen. We have, quite frankly, invading in Missourians' lives. I know that I share that goal with the folks standing behind me to make sure we don't let bad things happen, but we work on good things. And I think the united action that you've seen and the work that you've seen happen with both bodies has been, to me, just incredible that we've seen for the last several weeks here. Obviously, what we were very proud of and thankful to all the members standing behind me, as well as the legislative sponsors on House Bill 495. I know Brad Christ is here, Representative Christ from St. Louis. I know Nick Shore is here from St. Charles County, Travis Fitzwater from right across the river in Callaway County, Tony Lukamar, our floor leaders, Cindy O'Laughlin, Pro Tem, and John Patterson, our speaker. All those people work together to try to figure out what does that bill look like, what's the right solution, working with members that have concerns both in the Republican and Democratic Party, quite frankly. It was a high priority for us. We're very excited to see that bill get third read and the emergency clause adopted just yesterday. We believe that that is what Missourians asked us to do. The piece in there that talks about St. Louis using local citizens to control that police board is what's got a lot of focus, but the reality is that bill has an incredible amount of data in it that will help law enforcement from one corner of the state to the other, specifically with immigration efforts and things that we know law enforcement men and ladies need as far as the tools to accomplish safer communities, safer neighborhoods, and economic investment, which is what I believe the Republican Party stands for. We love capitalists, we love success, and we want to see that success and that capital invested into our communities from one side of the state to the other. So again, thank you to the sponsors of those bills in both the House and Senate. They've worked very hard, and we're grateful for that. Other things, passing the supplemental bill by spring break, I think is probably one of the fastest times we've done that. And as you know, it's a typical supplemental, has a lot of costs to continue in there, mechanisms that need to be done. But a huge piece for our seniors, especially our AAAs, our area agent agencies who spoke loud and clear, united with one voice. We're respectful of the process, and we're happy with that supplement that we were able to get that piece involved in them, and I think that's what responsible government does. So I would love, we'll take some questions in a minute, but first I'd love to turn it over to the first female President Pro Tem of the Missouri Senate, Senator Cindy O'Laughlin.
Thank you, Governor Kehoe, for your leadership and for bringing us together today. It's great to stand alongside all of our Republican colleagues in the House and the Senate as we continue to deliver real results for Missouri. From day one, the Missouri Senate Republican Caucus has been united in our mission to pass conservative, common sense policies that make Missouri stronger. And I'm proud to say that we've already accomplished a great deal this session. We've taken meaningful action to ensure stability in the energy sector, strengthen public safety, protect Missouri's children, and support Missouri's workforce and economy. These are priorities of Missouri's families, and they are priorities of the caucus. Strong leadership from Governor Kehoe has helped us accomplish these things. There is still more work to do in the second half. We remain focused on passing policies that protect our communities, support our families, and grow the economy. I thank all of my colleagues, both in the Senate and in the House, for helping us to accomplish these things. I'd like to invite Senator Tony Luetkemeyer to speak more about the accomplishments of the Missouri Senate.
Thank you, President Pro Tem O'Loughlin, Speaker Patterson, Governor Kehoe. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to building a stronger Missouri. It's an honor today to stand alongside my legislative colleagues as we highlight some of the work that has been done to protect our citizens, to strengthen our economy, and to preserve our values. Restoring law and order has been one of the top priorities for Republicans this session. And this week, we took decisive action to promote safer communities by removing political control of the St. Louis Police Department from the mayor and returning it to a citizen board. The men and women in uniform deserve the ability to do their jobs without interference from radical politicians who are soft on crime. At the same time, we're cracking down on fentanyl dealers who prey on minors and also implementing procedures to help identify criminal illegal immigrants who break our laws. Missourians deserve to feel safe in their neighborhoods, and this legislation sends a clear message. If you commit crimes in our state, you will be held accountable. We also took bold actions to protect our children. The Senate passed Senate Bill 10 with language permanently banning gender reassignment surgeries for minors and prohibiting biological men from competing in women's sports. Senate Republicans believe that protecting kids from life-altering medical procedures, and we believe that no young woman should be denied the opportunity to compete on an even playing field in athletic competitions. This is common sense. In addition to protecting our communities, we're making Missouri a better place to do business. Frivolous lawsuits drive up costs for businesses and consumers, which is why we passed critical tort reform legislation to ensure that class action lawsuits do not clog up our legal system. Additionally, we passed bills to reduce regulatory burdens on small businesses. We've also taken steps to protect the First Amendment rights of students on college campuses to ensure that their religious liberties are protected and that they are never discriminated against based upon their faith. While passing strong conservative legislation has been our main focus in the Senate, we've also ensured that Governor Kehoe has the team that he needs to lead Missouri forward. And as of today, I'm happy to report that the Senate has confirmed all of the governor's cabinet appointments, ensuring that he has every department led by principled, capable individuals who will serve the people of Missouri and implement the governor's vision for our state. The success we've had this session is proof of what we can accomplish when we work together. With a united Republican majority in the Senate, we've advanced bold, conservative policies that make our state safer, stronger, and more prosperous. When we focus on our shared principles and work as a team, we deliver real results for the people of Missouri, and we are just getting started. With that, I would like to welcome my colleague, Speaker John Patterson, to the podium.
Good afternoon. Standing right now here with you all and my Senate and House colleagues and with the governor, I really, the thing that comes to mind is it is a great day to be a Missourian, and I really do believe that standing here with all of you. As the speakers have already mentioned, we have done great things, I think, for the people of Missouri in the first half of this session. We mentioned public safety. When we began this session, the House Republicans committed to Missourians that we would do everything we can to make life safer, better, and more affordable for everyday Missourians, and I think we've done that. We have passed legislation that improves school choice in Missouri, and most of all, we've passed legislation that reduces taxes on everyday Missourians back home, whether it's property taxes, personal property taxes, or income taxes. And though we can't do much about the inflation that people are feeling, I think letting people keep more money in their pockets is the right thing to do. All of this has been made possible really because of the people you see here before you. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Governor Kehoe. Really having that leadership at the top, it makes a huge difference. And the fact that we were able to get the public safety bill done before spring break, I think really is a testament to the work that he's put in. He's walking the halls, talking with members, and that leadership really makes a difference. I also want to thank my Senate colleagues who this year have really, I think, in many ways outworked the House in terms of the numbers, although we passed them today, I think. The Senate this year has been a real pleasure to work with. The individual senators that many of whom I've worked with in the House, and then of course the leadership of Senator O'Loughlin and Senator Lukemeyer. And then I also have to really bring to attention the work of my House colleagues, my Republican conference members who have come in, put in the work every day, and are doing the work of the people here. So I think the thing I'm most happy about right now is that we've been able to pass this legislation, but I really do believe when a person in St. Louis or Kansas City, Cape Girardeau, Tarkio is looking at the Capitol right now, they see a government that really is working for them, that is about them, and not necessarily about us, which I think, if you think in the past at least 2 to 3 years, I think you could argue that that really wasn't the case. We're discussing policy instead of personalities and people, and I really am happy to see that. And I really hope in the second half of the session that we can continue that work and continue in the way that we've started to go about things. And I think you'll see more good things in the second half of the session. So thank you all for being here. I thank the governor and my colleagues here today, and I'm going to defer to the governor to start answering questions. Thank you.
Three things real quickly before we take some questions. Representative Alex Riley is actually keeping the trains on time in the House, and so he's a key piece of the leadership team that's done a great job. So thank you to Majority Leader Riley for all the work he's done. Thank you to the Senate, and Tony mentioned this, Senator Lukemeyer mentioned this, for really approving your cabinet. It's your cabinet. It's not my cabinet. It's the leadership of our state departments that are going to lead the state. We're thankful to have those in place. And last but not least, we've put together, through Adam Gresham, our chief of staff, who's been with me the whole time I've been in this building, a great team in the governor's office. And I wouldn't be complete if we didn't give them some credit to say they really are working hard to implement good policy for Missourians, not to get interfering with Missourians' life, but to work with the legislators you see standing behind me to try to figure out ways to advance and have an actually working Republican group of conservative, Christian-minded family people that represents Missouri's values. And I can't tell you how much I'm grateful and humbled to have a staff that works with me in that regard. We're just incredibly fortunate to have a great team that's working together. None of this stuff happens by itself, so we're grateful for them as well. And with that, we'll open up for a few questions. And so we're just now going to go to the second half. Lots of meaningful things still left to do out there, and I know the commitment to the men and women standing behind me in both chambers, very much working towards putting more money back in your pocket, like the speaker said, working through meaningful utility legislation, multiple issues on school choice and reform that are still out there that I think I remain hopeful that we'll come together with. There's some pieces out there that we still have to do, so we don't want to crow too much. We want to get back to work as soon as our members come back from spring break. So we'll open up for questions. I think Gabby is going to try to point folks out so we don't have everybody at once.
Governor Kehoe, around half of your proposed budget relies on federal funding. I'm just wondering what's being done to ensure that that money is going to come to Missouri.
Yeah, so number one, I support the administration's initiatives to make sure we right-size the federal government. You've seen some incredible examples out there that are things that I don't think anybody standing in front of me or behind me would think it's reasonable to spend Missourians or U.S. taxpayer dollars on. We're looking at where that will affect different agencies, and we'll work through it with Our counterparts, I will tell you, our congressional delegation, who we are in constant contact with, both senators and all of our congressmen, are very much working with us as we go through how some of those plans unrolls, what the effects could be for Missourians. We'll work through those issues and try to help the Trump administration make sure our government, just like our Missouri government, is right-sized.
Governor, there's been 3 bills to create a funding program to provide incentives to stadiums, specifically tied to the teaching skills. Is that something you're supportive of?
Yeah, there's a lot. I've been very clear on this. I think I speak for the members behind me and the leadership. This is an economic development opportunity. It's always just like if we had a manufacturer who is looking to move to another state, we would do everything we can to keep that economic development opportunity here. But it has to be a good, responsible investment for Missourians. It has to be a good return on investment. And it's going to require a partnership with Jackson County, with the city of Kansas City. We'll work together with their legislative leaders and with the men and women behind me to see if there's a responsible solution that keeps those teams where they belong. We believe they belong right here in Missouri.
Do you have any support for any of the bills that would roll back in Proposition A?
That's a huge issue, especially for our businesses, both large and small. I've never been a big fan of letting outside interest come put something on our ballot that commands and demands what small businesses do. The minimum wage, I've been very clear on that. I think it always should be market driven, but the biggest piece that's a problem with Proposition A are the benefits that go along with it. And I've heard from employers in Missouri, again, both large and very small, about the problems that could produce. And I know Representative Gallick, I don't know if she's here today, she had a great bill. I don't know if you third read that. I know you perfected it earlier this week. So they third read that today, and we'll go over to the Senate, and I'm sure you'll see more about that.
When and where are you going to sign House Bill 495? And what measures are there that will show you that it was a success, this takeover?
We will sign 495. We'll do bill review next week while we're in spring break. Our intentions is to sign that. I believe it's next Wednesday, somewhere around the 25th or 26th. We'll be in St. Louis the next day, and we'll probably have some additional signing opportunities there. Jack, the measurement is easy. I've said it all along. If we're going to do the right thing and control crime, and by the way, I'm a big fan of what Chief Tracy and Gabe Gore have done. I've said that multiple times. I'll continue to say that. We think this gives them additional tools. But when we see the business community reinvesting in the city of St. Louis, when we see job growth coming from that reinvestment, when people feel safe to walk in their own neighborhoods, that's the barometer we'll watch, and that's when we'll know that that's been successful.
One more question.
So it's not a reduction in crime necessarily? I mean,
Well, if you play that forward, if I'm a business investing in St. Louis and the crime numbers are rising, I'm not going to go and invest there. So I believe when you see business investment in a community, what those folks are looking at is the results of those numbers. Certainly, we've seen the crime numbers going down. We need to get them down even further. So that the indicator of crime coming down will be the catalyst that leads to business investment.
I actually have one for Speaker Patterson, if that's possible.
That's great.
Sorry, Governor.
Governor, well, the mayor of St. Louis says chaos will ensue now that this bill is headed to your desk. How do you respond to that?
Well, they've got an election coming up, so I think that's probably what they should be prioritizing. I've talked to many men and women in the police department, as well as business leaders, community leaders, multiple folks in St. Louis. They're very excited at this opportunity, and I think the best days for St. Louis are ahead of us in the very short-term future. We'll bring Speaker Patterson up quickly.
Hi, Speaker.
Hello, sir.
Hello. So my question is on the legislation the House third read today on Proposition A that eliminates the sick leave. When you spoke to me in January, you said that you didn't support legislation that delayed the implementation of the sick leave. Have you changed your mind? Why did the House put this through today?
Well, I was talking about more the minimum wage part. And
Oh no, you said sick leave on the. I have the quote, but
let me say something about the legislation. I think House Republicans, I'm very aware that people went to the polls and voted for this. I'm very aware that in my House district, Prop A was more popular than its state representative. It got 57% of the vote. And when I go and talk to Missourians around the state, and we all do, they also tell us another thing. About 95% of Missourians tell us we want you to compromise. We want compromise. You guys need to be compromising. And so I think what you're seeing here is, and I don't subscribe to this theory that Missourians didn't know what they were voting for. I think they knew exactly what they were voting for, and they were voting for a statute. And Missourians know that we pass laws and that sometimes you have to compromise. And so they passed a statute. They're very well aware that they have a legislature and that we would come in and see what we can do to make things better for Missourians and Missourians' small businesses. So I think what you're seeing here is that we are compromising. We want to keep the minimum wage piece in place. We don't want to delay that, but the onerous burdens of the sick leave part, I think we're compromising with the people and saying this really is not sustainable. And really, I believe if it were implemented, it would really hurt the people that we're trying to help. And so I think it's something that was necessary for us to do, and I'm happy we were able to do it today. But I think what we're seeing here is compromise between people and the government and their elected representatives, and I actually think that's a good thing.
Thank you. Can you do one more question?
There's been a lot of talk today about state control of SLMPD. The people of St. Louis, you know, they're all asking the same question. What specific changes will they see to improve safety?
Well, I think, as the governor said, when we looked at St. Louis City, I'm a proud Kansas Citian, but I love going to St. Louis. I love visiting there and seeing all the great things that it has to offer. St. Louis is one of the great cities of this country, and I want to do anything we can to make sure that it stays that way. And when I see people moving out in the numbers that we see, we have to do something. And so that's why I support this legislation, is that we can't sit here and do nothing as St. Louis City goes downhill. So as someone that loves St. Louis City, I think this is something that will help, and that's why we pursued this legislation. And I'm very proud of Representative Chris for the work that he was able to do.
My question is more, are we going to see more police on the streets? Are we going to see more funding for SLMPD?
Well, on those two things, I think you will, especially with some of the things that we're working on, making it easier to recruit and retain police officers. I hope you'll see that.
But
Thank you all.
Will there be more money? I know Senator Shore said he had commitments from appropriators in the House and the Senate that if the need arose for more money for St. Louis Police, that there would be support for that. Do you support that?
I think you'll see funding for St. Louis Police be adequate and improved. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you at spring training.
Yeah, I would close by saying, as the speaker said, we have tried to be as available at the Capitol as we can, and I'm grateful to the men and ladies here. Some have been here for a while, some are brand new, for welcoming us into their office and trying to really learn what's most important in their districts. As you guys know, I'm a business guy. I like to understand what my customers want, and in this case, what the citizens of the state want from one corner to the other. It's unique. What's needed in Dunklin County is very different than what's needed in Nottoway County. But the sense of Missourians wanting us to work together, not compromising our conservative values, not compromising those values, but figuring out a way to bring a plan together speaks volumes. And this is a win today to the bill that was passed yesterday, and Representative Chris and Senator Shore's bill is a win for law enforcement. It's not a win for us. It's a win for communities. It's a win for public safeties. And it's a bad day for the bad guys. So we like that as well. Thank you so much for being here. And I can't thank our colleagues behind. They get the credit. We just happen to be able to stand here today. So I'm grateful for their involvement and being here today. So thank you so much.
Thank you.